Alpha Promix Test Kit by Vitro Science. Alpha Promix is a ready-to-use master mix that can be used for detection of gene abnormalities that cause alpha thalassemia. Its function is based on the multiplex conventional PCR technique. An innovative PCR master mix test kit that contains every required ingredients in a single vial. Alpha Promix makes detection of alpha thalassemia gene an easy task. It is convenient to use as it is based on the conventional PCR. It also includes the newly designed primer sets that allow clearer and more distinctive presentation of results of specific bands. Users only need to mix the tagged DNA polymerase at the specified ratio and they are good to go. Alpha Promix Test Kit is available in 4 formulas, allowing users to choose the type that best matches their testing demands. Namely, Alpha Promix 1 can be used for detection of 5 types of alpha thalassemia gene, that is, alpha thalassemia 1 gene, including the Southeast Asian, Thai, and Filipino deletion, and the alpha thalassemia 2 gene, including the alpha 3.7 and 4.2 kilobase deletion. Alpha Promix 1 can also be used to test the control gene that's capable of identifying the heterozygous and homozygous as well. Alpha Promix 2 can be used for detection of 3 types of non-deletional alpha thalassemia, namely hemoglobin constant spring, hemoglobin pakse, and hemoglobin Q Thailand mutation. These 3 types of gene abnormalities that cause abnormal hemoglobin can be detected by a single vial of Alpha Promix 2. Alpha Promix 3 can be used for a detection of 3 types of alpha thalassemia 1 gene, namely Southeast Asian, Thai, and Filipino deletion. It can be used for a screening of gene abnormalities that cause the more severe types of alpha thalassemia. Lastly, the Alpha Promix 4 can be used for a detection of 2 types of alpha thalassemia 2 gene, that is, the alpha 3.7 and 4.2 kilobases deletion, as well as capable of identifying the heterozygous and homozygous. Example of how to use the Alpha Promix 1. Alpha Promix Test Kit contains the following components. 1. PCR master mix. 2. Tagged DNA polymerase enzymes. And 3. PCR strip tube. The PCR master mix and tagged DNA polymerase enzyme can be stored at temperature of -20 to -30 Celsius for 1 year. Prepare the instruments for the pre-PCR, namely tips, plastic tubes for mixing the solution, and micropipettes. Calculate the required amount of the solution using the calculation formula described on the instruction for use, as follows. For the case of Alpha Promix 1, the overall amount of the solution for 1 reaction or 1 test is 14 microliters. The solution contains 13.77 microliters of the PCR master mix and 0.23 microliters of tagged DNA polymerase. For example, in order to prepare the solution for testing 12 samples, one needs to multiply the required amount of the solution for 1 reaction with 12. In summary, this test will require 165.24 microliters of PCR master mix and 2.76 microliters of tagged DNA polymerase. And then prepare the strip tubes for the required amount of use, namely 12 tubes. Mark the tubes with ID number. Leave PCR master mix at room temperature until it melts, then mix the solution using the vortex and spin down. Mix PCR master mix and tagged DNA polymerase for the specified amount, whereas this example required the solution of 12 samples. Put the mixture through the mix and spin down. Pipette the solution into the strip tubes reaction, 14 microliters each. Prepare the samples. The most appropriate samples are DNA derived from blood, with the concentration range between 50 to 200 nanograms per microliters. Test a sample using DNA. Mix 1 microliter of DNA sample into the tube that contains the prepared solution. Therefore, after mixing the DNA sample with the solution, the total amount of the solution should be 15 microliters per 1 reaction. After adding the DNA sample, secure the strip tube's lid. Pay attention to the bottom of the tube and make sure there is no air bubbles. Otherwise, remove the air bubbles. Shake the tube manually or using the spin-down strip tube device. The next step is of PCR, where we'll use the conventional PCR type thermocycler. Set the PCR temperature as per the instruction for use. After running the PCR product can be used in the gel electrophoresis to provide the result immediately, or it can be stored at 4 Celsius until it is used into the run gel electrophoresis. 2% agarose gel per run, 100 volts. Analysis sample of gel electrophoresis using the Alpha Promix 1. For the interpretation of the gel electrophoresis results, user may use the information on the product sizes from the instruction for use. Other formula of Alpha Promix can be used in the same manner as the example of Alpha Promix 1 used herein, with minor differences in the proportion of mixture and temperature used for running the PCR. Further information can be found in the instruction for use.